What's up, everybody? I'm congested today, but we're going to get through this stream. I decided to go live early because I've noticed that there is this individual who's trying to clout chase off of my streams. He hopes if we go live at the same time, he'll be able to attract some of my audience. It's really weird. So since that's the thing, we're just going to have to work around that situation. So if you guys missed the live chat, totally understandable. Just catch the replay. So let's get into this. And again, I'm not feeling great. I'm feeling pretty shitty right now. I'm pretty congested, but it is what it is. So as you all know, Aaron Carter, I guess we can call him a singer. He was really just the brother of Nick Carter, who was a part of the 90s group, the Backstreet Boys. Aaron Carter had his own music career, but nowhere near to the success of his brothers. We know Aaron mainly because of his shenanigans that existed from his late teens all the way into his 30s. Yesterday, he was found dead in his tub, and it doesn't look like there's a lot of suspicion as to how he died. He definitely died of a drowning, and I imagine the coroner is going to figure out specifically what triggered the drowning. What we do know is Aaron Carter is a person who used a shitload of drugs, including huffing. He was huffing duster on Instagram once. And it's been a very sad situation to watch Aaron Carter kind of fall apart in front of the whole world. I have a lot of suspicion as to why these things played out the way they did. So we're going to go through a lot of videos, some articles, kind of talking about the deconstruction pretty much of Aaron Carter. And it's interesting when a lot of times when black celebrities or black adjacent celebrities, typically black ones, when they died, the worst thing that they've ever been associated to is on the headline when it comes down to TMZ. Aaron Carter had so many bad things he was associated with. It's like, which one do you select? Do you, which one do you choose? It seems like most people are not too interested in mourning him as much as they're just going to do their, reactionary rest in peace and let's move along. So I feel like we really need to investigate who Aaron was, and especially if people try to change the narrative. So let's get into this recent article. This article is from September 18th, 2019. So not that long ago. Nick Carter secures restraining order against brother Aaron after he threatens to kill his wife and child. Nick Carter has filed a restraining order against his brother Aaron after the Backstreet Boys star allegedly he threatened to kill his pregnant wife and unborn child. The restraining order, which has been obtained by TMZ, states the troubled singer must stay 100 feet from Nick, his wife, children, and other family members. This is going to be relevant in a little bit later. Confirming the order against him on Twitter, Aaron wrote, "So my brother just got a restraining order against me, and I was just served, LOL." He added, "Take care, Ed Nick Carter. We're done for life." A final tweet said, "I haven't seen him in 4 years, and I don't intend." Well, before we move on to the next part of this, just because you haven't seen a person face to face does not mean you're not making threats online or through family members or through text. And as we're going to see, that the Carter family was a fucking mess from top to bottom. It's easy to point at Aaron's dysfunction and say, look at him. But when we get introduced to his mother and some of her behavior, you're going to understand why Aaron acted the way he did. Explaining his decision in a lengthy post, Nick Carter said, "After careful consideration, my sister Angel and I regret that we were required to seek a restraining order against our brother Aaron today. In light of Aaron's increasingly alarming behavior and his recent confession that he harbors thoughts and intentions of killing my pregnant wife and unborn child, we were left with no choice but to take every measure possible to protect ourselves and our family. We love our brother and truly hope he gets the proper treatment he needs before any harm comes to himself or anyone else." He captioned the tweet with the hashtag mental health, gun control now, gun control. Now, for those of you who don't know, Aaron Carter had a bunch of guns for a while. He used to flash them on Instagram. He was acting really wild. During the pandemic, it kind of became the Aaron show, apparently. As I was doing my research, there were these fans who were just kind of watching Aaron go crazy. and he would argue with them on Instagram. It was a very toxic situation. I'm not going to blame the pandemic on his behavior because he was already fucking up well before the pandemic. But it is something to be said about being isolated to your home, not making a lot of money, consuming a lot of drugs, and just sort of being abandoned by your family, or at least a lot of your family. Now, before we get into, oh, sorry, I didn't see you guys in the chat. I was busy reading the article. What's up, Thickness? What's up, Cynical? Yeah, that reality show. We're going to be getting into that reality show in a little bit. That reality show was fucking disgusting. But let's stop sharing this. And let's quickly share a disclaimer, because we're going to be using other people's intellectual property. And we want to make sure that we not only give them credit, but we're using this with fair use, right? So this is actually from Famous Criminals. Definitely subscribe to this person. They have a lot of content. We're going to use this video as kind of the baseline. We're going to be pausing it a lot, but this is going to be the video we're going to use to kind of give you an idea of who Aaron is. Because most of us, like, even if you were in my age group, like early 30s to late 20s, you weren't really checking for no fucking Aaron Carter. Like, no disrespect. Well, all disrespect. Like, let's be real. Nobody was checking for Aaron Carter. So we're going to use that video to kind of help us get through it. But disclaimer, fair use. This is for education purposes. And let's get into it. And I'm telling you, once you guys figure out how his family life was set up, you're going to understand him a little bit better.
Heard of this jit, then congratulations. You're not missing much. His story might be important because it shows how you can have everything and then lose it. Aaron was born December 7th, 1987 in Tampa, Florida. His parents ran a retirement home. Now, his older brother, Nick Carter, would be discovered by a creepy old con artist named Lou Pearlman.
Let's talk about Lou Pearlman for a second. Lou Pearlman is the gentleman in the middle. He basically started his whole record label after encountering Maurice Starr. Maurice Starr, who is the brains behind New Edition and New Kids on the Block. And what he learned from that experience is you can make a lot of money in this pop music, specifically the bubblegum sound, because lots of kids like it. It's easy to sell, it's easy to market, it's easy to package. So after he learned that from Maurice Starr, because Lou Pearlman, if I'm not mistaken, he had like a private airlines company, he decided to switch his whole business plan around. And thus, Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and a bunch of other bands came out of it. The problem is Lou Pearlman was a pervert. So let's kind of get into that. We're going to stop sharing this and let's get into some Lou Pearlman shit. Lashid would probably imply that this person, Lou Pearlman, is a handler. And I would agree.
Justin choose those lyrics wrong with Lance Bass, our buddy?
Some people say that it was the director's idea. Some people say it was just a fad at the time, like you say, baby, baby.
It was actually, according to Justin, it was Max Martin that it was like, hey, say it kind of like this, like May, and it was born.
Wait, so who is Max Martin?
Max Martin, one of the biggest writers in the last 20 years.
Oh, like I was saying, the biggest writer.
Big
How about I just went on like I knew who that was? Oh, Max will do that.
Yeah. I mean,
every time.
He's got his hands in pretty much every song on the radio right now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the documentary, The Boy Band, the Lou Pearlman story. You're a producer on this. I think for Scott, me, and everybody, we saw y'all come in to massive success. Lou was there for all of it. I remember all the pictures and all of that. How did he first approach you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was the president of our record label, and Chris Kirkpatrick put the group together, and then he went to Lou Pearlman and said, "Hey, would you support us? If I put a band together." And Lou said, "Yeah, I would put money in you guys." And so he signed us to the Transcontinental record deal. He was our manager, and in his contracts, he puts himself as the sixth member of all his groups.
Yeah.
What?
No.
Yeah. So he was, and the way he sold it to us was like, if I'm the sixth member of your group, you don't have to pay a lawyer, you don't have to pay a management fee, you don't have to pay me as the record, label. I will cover all of that. But
you just
pause. They were fucking people over in these contracts. Like, it's one of those things where everyone was getting fucked over with these contracts. A lot of people think that it's just black artists who are getting screwed. If you came from a situation where you were not very well versed on the legal system, if you don't have a family that could really protect you from these type of predatory deals, you were getting fucked over. And if you watch this documentary, I saw pieces of it. Lou Pearlman fucked these guys on multiple levels, financially, and well,
Give me
That
all
was
of your
all
money.
a lie. Yeah, it's like, so basically he took 90% of everything. that
I
we
know, but
made.
in y'all's defense back then, you don't know, and you're getting an
No.
opportunity to do something.
Yeah.
When did your parents know something was wrong?
I think we all knew at the same time, and it was during our first check presentation. And we had been working for 3 years and not gotten paid a dime.
Wait.
Yeah, 3 years.
And
yeah.
where was the success of the band at that time?
We had sold over 10 million records, had #1 tours, biggest merchandise sold in the world. The group was making hundreds of millions of dollars.
So at least you should have been paid a couple million.
I don't know what the thing was. Of course, I was thinking, okay, the check could be $1 million. That
At
would be
least.
life changing. You know, a 19-year-old finally falling into something like this. And so I was thinking, okay, $1 million would be good. The lowest number, I thought, okay, 200,000 would change my life for sure. And then we open up the check, and it's $10,000.
Wait.
Yeah.
And did you and the guys talk about before that dinner? You knew the check was coming. Were you all kind of speculating what it could be?
No, because we didn't want to. It's, money's weird, especially when you're like a kid. You don't feel like you deserve anything because you have this great career and everything's done for you, and you're like, okay. So you don't like to talk about money. It's kind of like an icky thing. So we never really discussed what that could possibly be.
But in your head,
boss, when they say they're kids, they kind of were kids. I don't know. I think Justin was like 17 or something. Lance would have been like in his late teens, early 20s, if even. We're talking literal kids. And most of these kids were not wealthy kids. None of these kids were. These were like showbiz kids, many of them. And back in those days, being a showbiz kid was not a lot of money. These kids were being worked to the ground pretty much and had nothing to show for it. They did have these parents who were living vicariously through their kids, but many of these kids were struggling. So that's how they got played with these contracts.
and of course you thought about, okay, this is the one thing I'm gonna go buy.
Oh yeah.
And then you get that $10,000 check, and you're like, I can't get none
I
of
can't
that.
get my Toyota 4Runner now.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
So
That's
it's just crazy to hear that, because you think about NSYNC affecting culture. We were trying to dress like y'all,
Oh,
no
yeah.
strings
Oh,
attached.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it was like
That was-
it was like really a thing.
No,
And
we
to-
weren't.
To see
No, we
this
weren't.
documentary and to hear some of the stories that were shared. I mean, at
Yeah.
one point, y'all were in a unair conditioned airplane hangar
Yeah.
for hours.
In Florida.
Yeah, because you would learn, we had to learn how to sing and dance on a microphone without being out of breath. So we would rehearse in this warehouse that was 110 degrees every day for hours, and that's how we conditioned ourselves.
And he not only was like a thief,
Mhm.
but also kind of a creep.
He was creepy. Yeah, he definitely had a creep effect. And he was a very touchy-feely guy.
Yeah.
So he was always kind of giving you, shoulder rubs and all that, and it was definitely creepy.
No, tell the story about he would do like a peck check or be like, I can
Oh yeah,
manipulate your
he would tell all
muscles.
the guys, if we had a photo shoot or something like that, he would, he minored in physical therapy. He would always minor in lots of things.
Right.
And he could manipulate your muscles to make it look like you, worked out. So he would always be trying to protect
Behind the
you.
scenes, did y'all talk about, ooh, this is a little creepy, like with each
Yeah,
other?
I mean, of course we would joke about it, but I never felt. I mean, it was a little uncomfortable, but I never felt threatened or anything
Threatened or
like
anything
that.
like that.
Yeah,
Well, it's interesting because he also signed Backstreet Boys.
Yeah,
And
they were
it's-
first. Yeah,
And
Mhm.
so you guys signed on with him,
Mhm.
and were at some point pitted against each other. How did that happen?
Well, I mean, I don't know what goes in that mind of Lou Pearlman, but
This part isn't that relevant to the conversation, so we're going to go ahead and stop sharing. So you kind of get an idea of the kind of person Lou Pearlman was. He was a whole pervert. And the interesting thing about Lou Pearlman is there are multiple young men who were in this boy band sphere, I guess, who all died before they got to age 40. Rich Cronin died from cancer, if I'm not mistaken, around like 35. Another member of that group, I forget, the LFO group, another guy died from cancer. These are extremely healthy looking people who are just dropping dead randomly from cancer before they even get to 40. I think the other gentleman died around like 36 or 37. And you got Aaron dying before he got to 35. my tinfoil hat is sort of on because something is weird definitely is going on. I feel like there's a weird element to this entire situation. Let's get into some more stuff about Lou. Now, in this next video, this is years later. This is probably, I want to say last year, maybe. This is Aaron Carter and his mother. Listen to how this broad speaks about the Lou Pearlman allegations. And then it'll give you an idea of what kind of family he came from.
Who's that clever? Isn't that good? First bite will get you.
Oh, Mom, someone just goes, how many times do you think Lou Pearlman had sex with Aaron Carter?
Oh, jeez.
I wasn't ever even allowed that man, or around that. I was never even allowed around that man. Only
Is that Nick or Angel talking?
Probably.
The question is, how many times did he have sex with Nick?
What kind of a woman would make light of the idea of her fucking son being molested? Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, it never happened. Lou Pearlman never did anything sexual with her minor son at the time. What kind of a person jokes about something like that? You can tell that he comes from a very toxic, Walmart shopping kind of family. If had they not got success through Nick Carter and his wealth, I mean, we can kind of imagine what type of a family this is. So, wow. Like when I saw that, I was like, that's a sick ass broad. Like to even say some shit like that.
Gave us all the ability to have lives today. Who knows where I would have ended up, man, in Tampa, What? In jail? My opinion of Lou being a sexual predator is that is not true. That is so foul. He would come up to you and he'd teach you how to do push-ups. He taught me how to do diamond push-ups so I could build my chest. And he's a pedophile? Shut up about that, guys.
Watching the documentary and seeing Aaron Carter on film was really hard for me.
Yeah.
Knowing him as an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old that I did. He sold, like he said, 5 million albums before he turns 10.
Yeah.
He reminded me of one of the characters in Leaving Neverland, the Michael.
First of all, Leaving Neverland has been debunked many times over. But it's always interesting when these people, and when I say these people, I mean the media people. There was a big push to try to make Leaving Neverland happen. They were really trying to make Fetch happen with that situation, and it didn't. But I noticed anytime they tried to speak about Lou Pearlman or R. Kelly or any of those type of topics, they would immediately, well, I saw in Leaving Neverland. Bitch, Leaving Neverland isn't like, it's not like heavily researched, empirical, like this is not a really good example of journalism or research. This is literally a documentary with two gentlemen who've changed their stories multiple times. That it's, you know what? Let me get off the Leaving Neverland thing. You can clearly see that I'm not happy about that situation or that topic. But Michael Jackson isn't exactly off the hook because I got a video that I saw related to Aaron Carter that kind of didn't sit well with me. So let's finish this video and we'll move on.
Michael Jackson doc, in that he seems to not have come to terms yet. He is an advocate for Lou in this documentary. Were you surprised by that?
I was surprised. When he was going to do the interview, we kind of had to fight for him to be in the film because he wasn't part of like a band, boy band. But we knew that he had great stories because if anyone, he's the closest to Lou at such a young age. So we thought him deciding to do this, he was going to really tell some insane stories that we've always heard rumors about. So we were trying to get some confirmation.
Side note, I don't like Lance. I feel like there's something messy about him. Like, you can see that he's so excited. Ooh, we're gonna get some more confirmation about rumors. What confirmation you want the dude to say? Yeah, I got ass fucked by Lou Pearlman. Is that what you were looking for, Lance? Like, there's something I don't like about him. But let's continue.
Finally, but it didn't happen that way. He defended him with every breath. You could see the torment still in him, and you have to believe him. I mean, if I'm, they're sitting in this chair and they're, speaking their truths. I mean, you have to believe what he says. So if he says they didn't have anything happen with Lou, then I believe him.
So that kind of gives you an idea who Lou Pearlman is, gives you a little bit about Aaron. Let's kind of fast forward a little bit. So Aaron Carter has a subpar career, doesn't really go off too well. He uses the success of the Backstreet Boys to kind of keep himself relevant. There was that Nickelodeon, generation, Nickelodeon Disney Channel generation, where you were able to kind of stay relevant within the teens and all the way to your 20s. But right around the time Aaron got about 25, that's when you noticed that he was starting to have a lot of issues with not only drugs, but having a lot of issues just like in the community. And it's interesting that we get to this point where Aaron is using lots of drugs. He's having lots of issues at home. He's having lots of issues with his family. And it's weird because he started to really focus on his brother in a negative way. Like, he's really trying to convince people that his brother is just the worst person in the world. He even said that his brother raped a member of a girl group called Dream. They had a couple of songs with Bad Boy Records. It was an all-white female group. I think that was the only white group or white-oriented artist on Bad Boy at that time, and they were really trying to push them. So they put them with Backstreet Boys that went on tour together, and the story is Nick Carter raped, I believe her name was Melissa Schulman, and they buried the story. Matter of fact, I think I have video about that. Hold on one second.
I'd actually confided in my manager at that time about pressing charges. And I was told that he had the most powerful litigator in the country and that I didn't have the money to pay for an attorney to essentially defend me if he were to come after me. And then he was also just like, you're trying to build a name for yourself right now. Everyone's going to call you, fame hungry, that you're trying to use this to better yourself or get your name out there. And, at this point, like, there's nothing we can do. And I remember telling him, like, oh, so that's it? Like, he just gets away with it? And he was just like,
Yes, in other words, he does get away with it. I mean, here's the thing. With this story, I don't know enough about it, but Melissa didn't say anything for over a decade. She recently started talking about this. I've heard a lot of people, and when I say I've heard people in person, like, I've been in these type of conversations with clients talking about being sexually assaulted. This is what it looks like. Like, because you can even tell that she has some guilt associated with it. Like, it's almost like she feels like some of this is her fault. And that's why I know she's telling the truth here. Absolutely, positively. Something's wrong with these Carters. Something is really wrong with these Carters. Aaron Carter had an older sister. Her name was Leslie, and only older by a year. Leslie died when she was really young. I want to say she died in like 2008, maybe a little bit later than that, but she was like 26 when she died. And there was a big situation with that because after she died, well, Aaron started making some interesting allegations, right? And we're going to play what these allegations are. These are some pretty heinous allegations that he's making against his sister. And this is after she's already dead at this point. But here we go.
It is the toughest thing to deal with.
Aaron Carter dropping a major bombshell on Thursday, alleging on Twitter that his late sister Leslie, who died in 2012, sexually abused him when he was a child. In a series of tweets, the singer explained, quote,
I'm pausing this for a reason. It's an interesting framing of this because they say she sexually abused me when I was a child, right? Technically, they're both children, but the way they frame it, it makes it seem like, she's older and, it's more of a predatorial situation. But we're going to get some feedback from a family member who has a different story to tell.
My sister raped me from the age of 10 to 13 years old when she wasn't on her medications. He also alleged I was abused not only sexually by her, but by my first 2 backup dancers when I was 8 years old, and my brother abused me my whole life. ET has reached out to Nick Carter for comment. Aaron claims the abuse in question came as a result of his late sister Leslie's mental health issues. He says she suffered from bipolar disorder and took lithium to treat it, claiming that when she was not on her meds, she did things that she never meant to do. As a result, Aaron says he spent the last 15 years of his life going to therapy. He says he's had ups and downs and will continue working on his mental health. Aaron also points out that even though he's been through extensive therapy, he's never been diagnosed bipolar or schizophrenic, even though he said he'd been diagnosed with the disorders on the doctors.
I suffer from multiple personality disorder, schizophrenia, acute anxiety, a manic depressive.
Aaron's claims of abuse come days after Nick got a restraining order against him. According to court docs obtained by ET, Nick was issued a temporary order for himself, his wife Lauren, son Odin, and mother and father-in-law, which states Aaron must stay 100 feet away from them.
This is when Aaron was going on Instagram with the guns, and he had a shitload of guns. He had like high-powered weapons, making a whole bunch of threats, a whole bunch of, declarations that he was going to defend himself, even though no one was really after him, or at least no one that we knew. There was nothing that was obviously going on, at least to the outside world. We noticed that he did have a very toxic relationship with his mother, and a lot of times his mother was one of the reasons why some of this behavior got out of control. There is someone who is called BJ Carter. To my understanding, BJ Carter is a cousin of the family. Now, she's going to give us a little information about the relationship between Leslie and Aaron. And she, like I said, she has a different testimony. And I don't know, I believe her more than I believe Aaron.
Leslie was your sister, Leslie, who's now deceased. Rest in peace. God bless.
Oh, sister, I'm sorry.
Take me to the night Leslie was laying in the room with you for hours on end.
I mean, Leslie always had some behavioral issues, and she was kind of labeled like she was bipolar before anybody knew what bipolar was, because she was constantly being labeled as the bad kid in the family. And I think that kind of made her a target for Aaron, even at a very young age. However it happened, I don't know, but oh God.
Want me to guide you? It's okay.
No, I don't know.
You let it out of your heart.
I feel like it's just adding more fuel to the fire. Like, I just don't know. It's like,
well, let's put it this way, honey.
The truth of it is, it didn't happen the way that he said it did. Okay.
Aaron states that his sister
there was blackmail involved with it, because Aaron knew that he was the money maker and the golden child, and Leslie was the bad one, and nobody would believe her. And
pause. At this point, Nick Carter had already sort of separated himself from his mother. That kind of started in his early teens. because I don't know if you picked this up. Aaron Carter's mother is a cunt. She is fucking evil. Like, we're going to play some more videos, but this woman is, I know people don't like that C word, but it applies. Trust me, it applies.
And he wouldn't leave her alone, and she was tormented by it. And so you read between the lines. You know what I mean?
Aaron
I
states.
cannot physically fucking say it. You know what I mean?
Aaron states here. Let's put it this way. Aaron states that his deceased sister Leslie raped him and molested him for
It
years.
was the other way around.
Okay. And that's what is so
And
important
I
for
was
people
the
to
one
know.
that found out. It took me hours to get it out of her, and it was like hitting a brick wall. And he's always been so emotionless. He only cries for himself. You know, I mean, I can't fathom that he does not understand, like, that his lot, like, people there, I know the truth. That they put me in this little hole, in this little box, to try to keep me quiet, and I've been quiet for a long time. But Aaron knows that when I speak the truth and only the truth.
Amen.
You know.
As you can see, it gets worse. I have a little playlist going on. And honestly, it took me 45 minutes to create this playlist. There's more things associated with Aaron Carter and his abusive behavior. But what that tells me, what BJ just shared in that video, what that tells me is incest is not that uncommon with this family on some level. That's my hypothesis. The way the family tried to bury information and basically try to blame the mentally ill sister for this predatory younger brother's behavior. Full disclosure, I worked at this facility once. We used to deal with outpatient mental health services. There was a client there who, she was about in her late 50s. She had some type of like fetal alcohol syndrome. That's what she had. She also had issues with post-traumatic stress disorder and bipolarity. One day she stopped me and said that her brother was raping her. So of course I did what I was supposed to do as a social worker. We got her enrolled in not enrolled, we actually had her admitted into a psychiatric facility because she started making some self-harming statements. So naturally you got to elevate them to a hospitalization. And she considered to go into a hospital. We of course reached out to law enforcement, did, the rape kit. We did the whole thing, right? As we got to like the 10th or 11th day of treatment, because usually patients discharge after 14 days, I managed to find a domestic violence shelter for the client. I was able to connect her to the right resources. I was like, great, we got a place for you. You're going to be safe. Then she started saying, hey, I'm worried about my brother. Is he okay? This is the same brother who allegedly raped her. I was like, well, I don't know. I don't really keep up with your brother. I think law enforcement's handling it. She went on to say, well, I should really get home because he gets really sick. His back hurts and he needs someone to rub his back down. And I'm the only one that can help him because he can't move around that well. And I was like, the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? This guy allegedly raped you. Then it dawned on me what was going on here. She immediately wanted to discharge from the hospital and she wanted to return home where her brother lived. We had no right to hold her in the hospital. We believe in self-determination, even if the client wants to do something that is unsafe or unhealthy. We eventually dropped the client off. She went back to her brother. Her brother was sitting on the porch, smiling, waiting for her to return. And then I did something that I should have done a long time ago. I read the patient's charts before I took the case, before the case was even transitioned to that location. The client had been in services for like 25 years. There was a long history of sexual exploitation from both the father and the brother. It went on for years. And it was notated by multiple professionals at the agency. And I thought to myself, couldn't somebody tell me that this was a waste of my time? I even staffed it with my supervisor. I'm like, I literally went through all this trouble for nothing. And she explained to me, you're supposed to go through that. even if this is all bullshit, if you're going to be a quality social worker, you got to go through this whole process, even if the client decides to do the wrong thing. I shared that story with you guys to say that when when people don't have the strongest decision-making capacity, or they have a history of abuse or a history of trauma, they are the first ones that are targeted for sexual abuse in the family. They're the first ones, even outside of the family. Think about the person who is, very vulnerable. Aren't they the first ones that are in domestic violence situations? So that's what I think happened with Leslie. I think the family knew the kind of appetite Aaron had, the weird sexual appetite Aaron had, and they pretty much allowed it to go down because Aaron was the golden boy. Nick had already left the family. He was already establishing himself away from the Carter family. And Aaron was the only one that was still there because he was a minor and he was making money right then and there. I'm not saying this to shit on Aaron Carter, but what we're not going to do is pretend like this was a good guy. Aaron Carter would go on to develop a relationship with a woman, and let's just say the relationship wasn't the best. Hold on one second. We're going to play some more videos.
And I try to keep it close. Somebody said, "What does being a dad mean to you, Aaron?" Being healthy, mind, body, and soul. Being strong for him, letting him know that when he grows up, his daddy was a soldier, and protecting him, making sure he's safe in a safe environment, whatever needs to be done. Also his health, making sure his health is, dentist, going to the dentist, taking care of those kind of things, making sure that happens. So yeah, so this is my new album. So yeah, and yeah, Jaden's right. Leave my baby out of this. All right, I'm a good dad, very good dad. So you know what I mean? Like, I have an east and a west wing on the side of my house. Y'all know about this. All right, so don't come at me on some sideways shit when the baby's right here and Melanie's leaving it on him unattended. You see that? He's completely unattended. You okay, my baby boy? It's okay.
Pause. Anybody who have kids know damn well that baby was doing just fine. You don't have to hover over a fucking bassinet all day. Okay, that's not how that works. When the child is asleep and safe, you go do shit. I don't know, use the bathroom. This just goes to show you how crazy this dude was. Or let's just play the video.
Mm-hmm. No matter what, Daddy will never leave you. Please don't leave him unattended anymore.
I'm getting clothing for him out of the room.
All right, well, it doesn't matter. He doesn't have the outlet on him. Baby boy.
Okay,
Okay, what? Okay, what?
nothing.
No, there was clearly something behind that. Okay, what?
I was getting his clothes.
Okay, well, please, I'll have your phone and you're talking to people. You need to
I
be
have
paying
a
attention
phone
to our son. And if you're
for
not,
t-
you need to
for
let me
30
know.
seconds. Oh, well, you're too busy in your room over there.
Who said I'm too busy? Knock on the door and say you have things to do. I just came in here right now without you knocking on the door. So don't even come at me. Don't tell me what to do with my baby. He is sleeping. So you let him sleep. He's sleeping in his daddy's arms.
Actually, he was sleeping in the little playpen situation, but you woke him up.
One blocked, two blocked, three blocked. All these bot accounts on here. Hey, buddy. Yeah, Daddy loves you. Hi, buddy. Hi. Mm. Okay, I'm gonna put him back to sleep. Here you go, sweet boy. Do you want me to swaddle him? I'll do it. Since I can teach you again, but he doesn't need to be swaddled. No. He's good. What's this right here?
That is washed.
What is it? Oh, I asked.
It's his.
So you would wait. Don't throw him around like that.
Babe,
Be careful.
Stop.
Relax.
Tell me what to do.
I'm going to. This is my son. Is that poop?
Looks like it.
Well, that shouldn't be in there. He can get sick from
Obviously.
that. So you gotta clean
That's
that
why
up.
I don't know why you're putting him right next to it.
I didn't even realize it was there. All right.
Come here.
Like you should take him out, get a blanket, and clean that up. And if you
I get it being a new parent and everything, but some shit is common sense. And what you're going to see is these two don't got it. Common sense, that is.
want me, I'll clean it up myself. I'll do it right now. Huh? You got it? All right. Why y'all throw him? I didn't. That was her that just did that. Okay? What the fuck are you talking about, man? Nobody threw anything. She just moved him. Damn, she just shoved the baby. Yikes. Yeah. I know they're discontinuing the outlet. Yeah, I know about that. Why the fuck did she move your son like that? Oh no, I had to teach her how to change a diaper too. Thank you. Thank you. Do I think
So this is one of the things that really upsetted me the most as I was going through all of these videos. I got really upset just watching his interaction with not only his child's mother, but also the kid itself. It just made me feel super uncomfortable. It looked like two people who were the least equipped to handle children. Now I get it. First kid, you make mistakes. But these are some grown-ass people. They're both in their 30s. Even if you never had a kid before, I feel like you should be old enough and wise enough to know, common sense things. Around this era, Aaron started focusing on Nick again and implying that somehow Nick was a part of some type of devil worshiping, some type of cult. And he went on this very angry rant. So
massage room. We don't believe in the devil. All right, Nick, I know you do. All right. It's clear.
Wow.
No, it's clear. You believe in that dark shit. All right. I don't believe in that dark shit. And it's about time y'all start realizing this is the mother of Nick. You guys aren't his mother. You guys aren't his family. You guys aren't, you're not Nick's family. Okay. Like, you're not his family. You're not fucking, you're not his wives. You're not, what is this, sister wives? Like, the fuck is this? What y'all think you have a chance with Nick?
Don't listen to it. Let me tell you, in between, we should get a lot of truth out here, okay? And let Nick hear it.
There's no accusation. I don't make accusations. I speak the truth.
We want Nick to wake up to reality here,
Or else it's gonna be too late, bro. You're gonna get too far in, and you're gonna get consumed by fame and fortune. And you know what? What are you gonna be left with? Everything for the gram. Let me put up a picture for the gram. Let me put up. Let's just dress up in our, our Buccaneers outfits and do a picture, Lauren. Like, no. All right, I'll take.
See, a lot of people. I did see this. Now, let me highlight this comment. Could this be why he was taken out? I don't think so. I think he took himself out. And I think that's what we're going to learn once they do an autopsy. Aaron Carter he basically put himself in a position where he was using a lot of drugs, acting very erratically, and it's easy to blame Nick. And I'm not trying to say Nick is a good guy. I just played a video where a woman shared her rape story about Nick Carter, a rape story that I believe. So not at all caping for Nick Carter. Like, I think the whole family's gross, but I'm putting things in perspective, right? I'm putting things in perspective because people don't just wake up. At least I don't believe people just wake up terrible people. I don't think Aaron was just born awful and he just stayed that way. I believe that there was a lot of things that got him to this point. So Aaron Carter had a very weird relationship with Michael Jackson. It was weird. It was one of those things where, as a Michael Jackson fan, I'm a side-eye him forever regarding this situation, because this man is in his 40s hanging out with teenage kids, and I don't get it personally. A man in his early 30s, I barely can tolerate people in their mid-20s because the maturity level is just not there. And for this guy to hang out with these kids, well, I want you to watch this video. And this is one of the few videos where I saw it and I was like, Michael, something's not right about the way you describe these boys. And I'll let you guys make your own decision.
You do that in the hibbity jibbity, you don't know what's gonna happen. So what's that one is for? Hot. What kind of hot? Real hot. You and Aaron, was it Aaron Carter and you?
Yeah.
Lifted up your shirts?
Nick.
Oh, Nick Carter. They got these big stomachs. But the camera, I can't believe Nick did that. You weren't embarrassed?
I don't care. I'm not the one that sells records.
Okay, that's
Teen Idol.
I would be just shy.
Well, you don't have a personality.
They decided to release my.
Now, before we get to playing DJ Vlad shit, because you know how DJ Vlad is, let's just play that fair use disclaimer one more time, because DJ Vlad, if there is one thing that he will do, is try to copyright strike your shit. This is under fair use. We're only using a small clip of it for educational purposes only. This is Aaron Carter and his alleged situation with Michael Jackson, where apparently Michael Jackson was sharing drugs with him. I sort of believe it. I don't know. This story is one of those stories where I think I believe it, but I kind of don't, because Aaron lies so fucking much and it's really hard to say. So hold on one second.
Album when I was in rehab, man.
Okay.
And Sony owes me money.
That was the marketing.
Sony owes me money.
I said,
where's my money?
90
Sony
million.
Records, pay me my money.
Was your first album in how many years?
Michael Jackson, man, told me never to sign with Sony Records.
How well did you know Michael Jackson?
Very well.
Really?
I have his jacket, man, because he told me, he said, Aaron, I came out with Bad, Thriller, and Off the Wall, and I came out being really tough, like a young brother. And then he's like, I had to change it. He's like, I had to go to Human Nature, and he wanted.
Pause. That's not even the right sequence of events. Like, Michael Jackson was very like pop friendly, squeaky clean most of his career. And even when he tried to act tough and bad, it didn't really hit the same. So not only is Aaron lying here, more than likely, he's getting he doesn't even know Michael Jackson's discography like that well.
Wanted people to take him seriously and be like, don't mess with me.
Like, beat it.
Yeah. Bad album, Off the Wall, Thriller. Those
Yeah.
are all 3 aggressive albums. And
I think I was sharing the wrong screen. Sorry about that. Basically, he was getting more shit confused, getting things all out of sequence. This dude, like, but this isn't the story that I was looking for. I was trying to find specifically the story where he said that Michael Jackson gave him some weed, which I don't know if I necessarily believe, but it's hard to say because I don't know. Like, I don't know. All right, here's the story. I think I found the right video. It's this dude has a lot of crazy fucking videos. Hold on one second. Okay, here it is. So this is the video that I was really looking for. So this is the video where Aaron Carter's mother apparently tries to set up Michael Jackson. Like, she tries to set him up on some weird sex allegations. And according to Aaron, he did not co-sign for it. So hold on. According to him. Honestly, I think I believe this story because his mother is a terrible human being.
Michael Jackson told me in no uncertain terms that settling that case in 1994 was the biggest mistake he'd ever made. He should never have settled it. He should have fought it through a trial. He would have won.
Wait, there was a comment that I wanted to highlight. I think Jermaine will give him weed before MJ. I don't know about that. I do know when Michael Jackson died, they did find hella weed on the property. Like, Michael, I think we need to accept the fact that Michael Jackson was definitely doing a lot of drugs. And he did have these young friends for whatever reason. What I don't like is they like to pretend like there was only young male friends, because Michael Jackson had a lot of young female friends around the same age group. So not to say that makes anything any better, but it does kind of give a little bit more context.
It was an absurd case, but he was advised, he told me, by lawyers, by business advisors to settle it and get.
Well, when you say nothing happened, say nothing sexual happened. He still provided drugs to a minor. That's still a something. So here's the phase where we talk about the inconsistencies with his testimony when it comes down to Michael Jackson. Honestly, I plan on doing a deeper dive next year into the whole Michael Jackson allegations. I'm trying to get people who don't necessarily support Michael. I want people who do support. I want to do a panel discussion because these allegations are serious allegations, but they're also flimsy allegations. But Aaron would go back and forth with, did Michael do something or did he not do something? Because Aaron told a story that was, let's just say it was quite the opposite of what he is saying now. And when I say he goes back and forth, he goes back and forth with, oh, Michael was great, to, oh, there was this weird situation where Michael Jackson tried to climb in my bed. So let me pull up this. This video is kind of hard to hear because when Aaron was telling the story, he was trying to whisper and, you know, he was trying to tell the story, but still be very low key about it. So let me see if I can actually pull this up. It's very hard to hear. So I'm going to try to turn it up as loud as I can. 1 second.
He wanted me to stay in this room. So he got a cot, a bed, and I stayed on the cot in this room. And what it must have been, and it must have been like 5 o'clock in the morning. I have all sorts of stories for you. 5 o'clock in the morning. He's on my bed. He's on the foot of my bed.
I wake up. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, 15 years old. What are you doing? Oh my God, I didn't know. I get in his bed and I'm like,
Yeah, because we're just like, what are you going to do?
yeah. I mean,
And what about his kids? You don't understand it. Like, he was doing all this forever day.
they were in the room right next door. The room right next door. And usually, he didn't want anybody hanging out with his kids. No one. But me, I spent hours with his children. He allowed me to spend time with his children, which he didn't really do.
So after you stayed today, how often did you talk to him?
All the time. All the time.
So that's during the tour, yeah. And it was really, really tough and couldn't tell him.
I mean, it was. But I wanted to. I wanted to drink, so.
You're a kid.
Right. I mean,
Every kid would.
15, you want to do those kind of things, and, I was experimenting, at that time. So, I think if I was a 40-year-old man, I wouldn't be offering anything to a 15-year-old teenager.
Bingo. And here's the big point right here. Like, even if you don't necessarily believe the allegations of child molestation, you cannot deny that the relationship between a grown-ass man and people's minor children is a little odd. And in my opinion, destructive. So the fact that he was using his adult status to help get drugs and alcohol to a kid who probably didn't have any trouble obtaining his own drugs and alcohol. I mean, Aaron Carter was still a celebrity, confident he can get whatever drug he wanted and what type of alcohol he wanted at that age. But for this grown-ass man to provide it to him, I don't like that.
Even if he or she was asking for anything like that, There's another story. There's something else that happened, and
I also have a story for you today.
and it involves drugs. And I'll tell you this.
And I saw the alcohol as well.
Me too. God, I don't know if this is something I'll ever want to talk about. Maybe not. But me, at 15, I smoked weed with my friend. Thanks, guys. Straight up. And I went to the obviously, but
No,
this happened. It really did.
A part of me feels like that definitely happened. And I can't really break down that whole situation with this specific video. And as much shit as I've given Aaron post-mortem during this stream, I also hope that these videos help give you an idea of what his world was like. Yes, he made a lot of fuck-ups in life, but the people who were the adults around him when he was a kid, they fucked up first. and they insulated this bad behavior. And now, well, not now, but he eventually became an adult, and that adult was a very problematic adult, to say the least. But, you know, he shared the story about Michael, but then he says Michael was a great guy, but he alludes that there was some weird shit going on. So I don't know which to believe, to be quite honest with you. I hope the stream wasn't just a stream where we just dissed Aaron, because that wasn't the goal here. I really hope you guys get an understanding of how chaotic his world was before he passed. And there was something, I don't know, normal about Aaron. Like, Aaron is a person that you may know, or a family member, unfortunately, that you can't reach because they're too deep in their addiction, they're too deep into their mental illness. And sometimes we can't reach those people. And we oftentimes lose those people a little bit too early. But if there is somebody in your life who's still here, who needs you to reach out to them, maybe you should. Maybe it'll help them. Or maybe it won't. But at least you can say you tried. I'm going to check out some of these comments before we call it a day. Well, thank you very much, Cynical. Thank you for stopping by. Thickness, definitely hit me up on Discord. You know how we do. I think with Aaron specifically, you can see his physical transformation a lot, because crystal meth, I know a lot of you don't know much about crystal meth, because crystal meth is popular in certain regions. In certain regions, it's not. But homie was definitely into the crystal meth. You can see how sunken in his face is. Crystal meth doesn't stay in your system very long. And I remember one time Aaron Carter was trying to prove that he wasn't on drugs. So he does a piss test. He says, see, I'm clean. I'm like, yeah, because meth doesn't stay in your system as long as, say, marijuana. It's an unfortunate situation, you know? But we're going to close up this stream. I actually did this stream early, not only because I was trying to avoid people clout chasing my stream, but also I have a dinner to attend. So I got to get ready for that. It's 3 o'clock. So thank you for coming out. Until next time, good night.